Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to a very special Wrestlemania Backlash predictions panel episode of the BCP. Very excited to welcome in my all-star panel at this time. And guys, please share the stream, join the chat, let us know who you got, because I don't want to know who this guy's got. He is the Mr. Perfect of the BCP. You know him as the host of now the Sweet Chin Musings podcast, our good friend, Mr. Mike Mueller. Mueller, what up, bro?
Mueller. Not too much, Rob. How you doing, man? Good to see you. It's been a minute.
It has, man. We're coming out strong this week. We got a lot going on. 80s Con will be at Baltimore Celeb Fest. Hopefully trying to get some of those interviews. So, call the BCP. Let's see what we can do, man. You ready to go, bro?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready for this, man. WrestleMania was, I don't know about anybody else, but it exceeded my expectations. So while I'm not super hyped for WrestleMania Backlash, I wasn't super hyped for WrestleMania, and it ended up being a great thing. So I'm hoping we get more happy surprises for Backlash. So we'll see.
I love it.
And as always, it's an honor for you to have me on your show.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
I'm rusty.
He's ready to go. Yeah, it was great. Very well said. And our next two guests, they were both at WrestleMania, I believe. Please welcome back to the show. You know her as our favorite Mandalorian, I should say. She is the general manager of Mission Pro Wrestling, and by now a BCP First Ballot Hall of Famer, Miss Mandalorian. Amanda, what up? How are you?
I'm good. Excited to be back. I missed you guys, so it feels good to be back home with my faves and fans.
How was your WrestleMania experience? Because I was super jealous.
I enjoyed it. It exceeded, just like Mike, it exceeded my expectations. I went in with low expectations just because it's better, I think, just for me mentally to go in that way sometimes than be happily and pleasantly surprised. The ambiance was amazing. The events that whole weekend were so much fun. I even have my WrestleMania t-shirt.
Hey, there it is.
I was there.
You weren't anywhere near the fire, were you?
Oh, stop.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure you were safe.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I wasn't, thankfully, but loved it. It was so much fun, and hopefully I can go to, I think it's LA next year, so we'll see.
Okay. Hopefully we'll see you guys there. And guys, please welcome in, making her BCP long-awaited debut. You know her as a member of Mania Club and representing Mania Club. She is a wrestling aficionado. Please welcome in for her debut, Miss Kelly Hopkins. Kelly, welcome in. How are you?
Bob, thank you. It's so great to finally be here on the podcast. I'm doing great, obviously, since I get to be here today. So thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. Kelly is overqualified because she was also at Mania, I believe, and she's met a lot of these superstars. Show them the arm, show them the tattoos. These are legit tattoos. What, you just got Randy Orton and someone else's at Mania?
We just got Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels added in, although it is not a not safe for work tattoo. He was kind enough to alter his signature slightly for me. Definitely got to hear a lot about that over the weekend, and I can't comment on my whereabouts on the fire, where I was. I've been advised not to acknowledge that. So,
but you did acknowledge Roman Reigns. That's all that mattered.
Always acknowledge Roman Reigns.
I'm so jealous. He's my favorite.
Wow. All right. Well, on that note, guys, let's get into it. Where do we start? Someone pointed out to me a lot of these matches mostly are rematches from WrestleMania. Mike, as you said, Mania was above all our expectations. It was a lot of fun. They really went for it. A lot of surprises. We'll talk about, Cody. I mean, it's been talked about to death, but I mean, it was just a stellar show. I'm so glad some of you all got to be there. Let's start with a match. I don't even know if polarizing is the right word. Let's talk about Charlotte Flair taking on Ronda Rousey in an I Quit match. I've shared my feelings on both these competitors. Ronda, I have never been very high on in the world of professional wrestling. Just as my personal take, I've got to work with Marina Shafir recently and seen her on the Independents, and I'm just like, man, Marina Shafir is killing it. If they did that with Ronda, I think Ronda would be money, and just I think that's the way to book Ronda. So I'm just not thrilled with this whole thing. I don't know if either you guys are feeling this right now. It's very interesting. Going the I Quit route is, again, I'm using the word interesting a lot. You guys know me when I use that. But I heard there was some backstage drama from several sources, according to their card placement at Mania. So there's a lot of moving parts here. I don't know how I feel about this. Mueller, save me here, man.
Yeah, well, I think this was the shock of all of WrestleMania. I think most of us thought Ronda had it on lock. I'm with you, Rob. I don't really like her in pro wrestling. I don't like smiling Ronda at all. I don't like smiling Brock Lesnar either, although I'm not super popular with that. But she needs to be badass all business. That is what she is. I get the feeling, and I think a lot of other people get the feeling that I don't know. It's not a natural thing for her. But you don't bring Ronda Rousey in to keep losing and losing, especially in something like an I Quit match. I'd say this is as close to a lock as you're going to get, although I would have said that for WrestleMania and I would have looked a fool. So you never know, but I just think that with it being Ronda and MMA background, yeah, Charlotte has, the figure eight. And so at least she has a submission move. It's not Stone Cold and Bret Hart in 97 when Austin didn't even have a submission move. So at least she's got that, but I think this is definitely Ronda, and I'm hoping, I doubt it'll happen, but I'm hoping that she gets this win and it's maybe the beginning of a heel turn, because we got to do something with this character. Like I said, I'm not invested in this character at all. I was barely invested the first time around. I'm not invested at all this time. I was thrilled when she lost to my girl Charlotte at WrestleMania, but I just don't think it's going to happen again. I think this is all Ronda. All Ronda,
which means that Charlotte is going to say the words "I quit."
Charlotte is going to say the words "I quit." Yeah, she's not going to pass out or something. So Ronda wins that way. The words "I quit" will be said, and Charlotte's going to say it. She's a heel character, and everyone wants to see her get her comeuppance. So I think she's going to say the words.
All right, fair point. I really don't know where to go. Let's ask the GM of Mission Pro. How do you book this one?
I thought honestly at Mania she was going to win too. I really thought Ronda was going to win, and I was surprised that she didn't, but something felt off, just the vibe. And I feel like it has felt off for Ronda this whole run as well. I feel like it's even less organic than it was the first time. It's more forced on her part.
Totally.
And, at least even recalling the first run, yes, it wasn't really her best side and not the side that we're used to seeing of Ronda, but at least at that time, it still felt exciting and fresh for her, and you could tell she was enjoying it more. And I feel like here again she's pushing it more, that this is again something not in her. This is not the best Ronda that we've seen. And I'm with you, Mike. I feel like I want to see Ronda just go in, just be a badass, just what you saw in the MMA world, just that fierce, intense. And yes, we have smiling Brock, but Brock is enjoying it. I feel like more than Ronda is.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what's saving me. I think for smiling Brock is Brock is enjoying it and he's having fun.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Ronda just isn't. And I feel like if they let her be the heel and let that energy just transfer out and just go on a rampage, and I think she's going to win. And I think we will see a heel turn, and I think it's going to give Charlotte a chance to come back, maybe as a face this time. I think we're going to get a double turn. And could we on Ronda's end even see, maybe we get Shayna Baszler, maybe we get somebody else, kind of coming up too, something to kind of cement that heel turn. I think Charlotte is going to say the words "I quit." It's going to happen. I agree with Mike. I just wonder whether it's going to be through completely on Ronda's doing on her own, or again, if we're going to get some outside interference and maybe get a kind of a small mimic of what we have with the Bloodline right now, in terms of maybe like a heel stable or heel something kind of for Ronda. But I think Ronda's she's a lock for this one for me.
She was great as a heel on Twitter too before she came back. I thought she was coming
or in
back
any
heel.
interview she does. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was coming back heel for sure.
Fair point, man. I like what you said. I would love to see her join up with Shayna. I've said a million times over the years on this show, they really missed the boat. The 4 horsewomen of the MMA versus the 4 horsewomen of WWE. People have injuries, they go out, they're released, whatever it is. So I missed the boat on that one. That being said, there's always been the talk of Ronda needs the likes of a Heyman or something like that. So I like where your mind's at. Let's get Shayna and Ronda together immediately. We do have a tag division. They could be a force to be reckoned with. That could be very cool. Kelly, your thoughts on this match?
So I'm not going to touch on the things I agree on too much, because I obviously agree that we're going to have Ronda going over here. Charlotte's definitely going to be saying "I quit." But there's a couple things I actually really disagree with here. And one of them being that the reason Ronda can't be a face well. Ronda actually, I feel, is invested in wanting to be a face. I think she's wanted the crowd to get behind her and pursue her and get that big push and pop like she did when she first came out. I think that one taste she had is what she wanted. And her heel turn was so organic because nobody wanted face Ronda. They were literally interrupting any promo she attempted, and you watched her get flustered if you go back to that tape. So I think her heel turn was so great then because she was just pissed she couldn't get what she wanted. But she could do well as a face if she did get a Heyman. She is not good with trying to remember a script. Maybe if they let her go off the cuff and be herself and say what she wants to say, it could go well. But she's not an actor. That's why Randy Orton's been quoted saying he can only be himself, is because he doesn't act. She doesn't act. And we've clearly established that fact.
Yeah, we've
but if
seen
somebody
that.
else, exactly, if somebody else was holding that mic and taking her through, she actually could be a great face while still being dominant with that MMA portion. I'm also going to go on the record saying my two favorite Brock Lesnar's are Brock Party Brock and Cowboy Brock. I think they're both hilarious. I love watching him have fun, and I hate Brock Lesnar. I hate every time I hear that beast incarnate music, but at least I was having a good time watching him, and Cowboy Brock looking at him was just the funniest thing I had ever seen. Like, the juxtaposition between his brutality and the country vibe was just hilarious. I would love to see Ronda and Shayna get together as heels, but if that's going to happen, I don't see her taking the title. I see them transitioning them more into the tag team division to fight with Naomi and Sasha and be the heel couple to take over that from the face to Naomi and Sasha. I do see Ronda using a foreign object to win, though. I think somehow she's going to tie Charlotte up in either a chair. If they want to get real gritty with it, let's pull out a chain. I would love to see Charlotte choked out with a chain, as dirty as that sounds. But yeah, I agree on those other main points of who's going to win and who's saying they quit. So
They had the kendo stick spot at the signing, so she could bring that back and work that in somehow with the submission.
she could.
Absolutely.
I like where your head's at.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, hell of a debut so far. We'll have her back. We'll have her back. Hell of a debut so far, Kelly. You're off to a great start. Guys, and I'll just agree with the panel. I think you guys put it perfectly. I wasn't sure where to go with this. I think it makes sense, and I think we all want to see Ronda because we're not all as high on her. I think we want to see her evolve in some way, and hopefully that's what happens. Guys, please let us know your picks in the chat. Please welcome in Kofi Weedston from Dirty Heels Podcast. Michael Sullivan, it's been a minute. Yeah, man, let us know who you got. David Zubin, Ref David Zubin, and Kimmy So Cool. Is that how you say it?
Hey.
I know her. Kimmy, we'll see you for Double or Nothing. Guys, let's go to our next match. Let's talk about, again, a lot of rematches here. AJ Styles versus Edge. We talked about it on the Mania panel where it was like these two guys were going to have this match. One of the matches I was most excited for. Bianca Becky was the number one for me, but I was stoked for this. A little disappointed by this one. I expected a little bit more. Again, I'm glad these guys are still going. I'm glad Edge is wrestling again. But they almost forced like a, like you always say, Mike, like the double turn, and it was just like, they're fighting each other. We have to make a good guy versus bad guy, which I get. It's that old school mentality. I feel the product's evolved. But now Edge is doing something very weird. It needs to grow and take time. I don't know how you all feel about it, but I think the whole point of this is to get Damian Priest over. So we'll see how this works. It's very interesting. I just listened to the Ember Moon interview with Athena with Chris Van Vliet. Very good. One of my favorite podcast episodes since Mox on Talk is Jericho, and she really opened up. So listen to that. And I'm thinking, they're telling her they had nothing for her. She would have been perfect for this stable. She's like, am I a werewolf? Am I a vampire? Like, I'm thinking the whole time, this would have been perfect. It's a real shame. But that being said, I hope better things happen for her. I was underwhelmed by this match at Mania. I hate to say it because I love the thought of it so much. I'm a little confused by all this. I'm a big fan of Styles, heel or face. I like face Styles a lot. He tends to wear the blue a little bit more. Hashtag wrestling fashion. I'm not sure where to go on this one. Kelly, help me out.
I mean, as far as feeling let down by the match at Mania, I definitely thought, I hate to say it when the best part of the match is how solid the entrances are, and then you lose me beyond that. That is, as banging as the entrances should be, that should not be where my focus stays and remains. Although I love the fact they kept those wings for Edge as he comes in. I love the update to his music to show that darker tone. But again, I'm talking about the entrance and not what the actual match was. And forgive me, I live in Oregon. I smoke a lot of weed. I don't actually remember much of the match besides Priest popping up. So with that being said, and the way that the stables are moving forward, I see that Edge is still going to go over Styles. I think that might last a little bit longer with Styles putting together more of like a Bullet Club with pulling in another female, because with Priest being barred, I think we're going to see that rumor come through with Rhea coming through. It's not a tag team. They can't drag her down that way, especially since there's no woman to get involved in her matches. So I think that's where we're going to see Rhea enter in, or sorry, Rhea. That's where we're going to see Rhea enter in here and really make her impact into that group. So sorry, AJ, but you're not going to win again. And it's going to be thrown outside interference again. So it's going to feel like an exact repeat of it's literally going to be Backlash from Mania. But that's how it's going to go in my eyes.
Yeah, I think Edge wins here again. At the end of the day, I think Edge is at that point. He's thankful to be in the ring. He's won a lot since he's come back. He's lost some as well. But again, I think the whole point is to put it over future talent, and I think he understands that. I think they're seeing what sticks to the wall here. They're pulling from a little bit of the Brood stuff. So we'll see how it plays out. What is it called? Judgment Day? Is that the name of the group now? Which they already have the rights to, probably from the pay-per-view and all that. So that's another thing.
There will be another pay-per-view called Judgment Day.
Yeah, featuring them.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think Edge wins, and this is where you possibly add a new member. Rhea being a leading candidate, which would be very cool to see something for her. Mike, who is always in touch with WWE booking. Kelly says Edge is going to win. I think Edge is going to win. Michael Sullivan in the chat, welcome in. Think Edge is going to win. Clinton, welcome in. Reese, welcome in. Guys, let us know who you got. We want to know who Mr. Mueller has got right now, the WWE perfect man himself.
It's appropriate that you said that, because I'm starting this thing off by saying this is what's going to happen. It's not what I would do.
There it is.
But I completely agree with Edge pulling from the Brood, pulling from the Ministry of Darkness. We're seeing a lot of that aspect of Edge. He's very, very into the mind games. He's very into you don't see what's going to happen next, and getting dark and getting weird. I think there is going to be another member of Judgment Day, because you can't be a stable with two people, and like they're not even a tag team, so it doesn't make sense for them to have a name. More people are coming. A female like Rhea Ripley would be perfect in there. I don't think we're seeing her here though. I think it's going to be Finn Balor. I think we're getting the swerve with him coming in to help AJ. It's very on brand for Edge's character. We just had Finn lose the title. We're not really doing anything with him. I would love to see him and AJ stay together. That's why I said it's not what I would do. I think you've got a better story in keeping them as baby faces going against this new faction. But my gut says Finn is a swerve, and he's going to be the one to cost AJ at this match, and he's going to be the newest member of Judgment Day. And in that group, he's jaded, he's bitter, he can be taken in by the darkness. And Edge, we already know Finn has a lot of darkness in him with the demon. We can bring that out a little bit. Imagine the demon face paint, but with there being more purple instead of red. Wrestling fashion, I'm looking at you. But that's where I see it going. It's just what my gut's telling me. I actually, when we recorded for our podcast, Sweet Chin Musings, that you can find on all podcast platforms, shameless self-promotion. I actually had AJ winning just because I felt so bad for him. I'm like, this dude just keeps losing, and I just want him to win something sometime. So I'm going to go for it. But with the Finn thing, it's just like, it's all these red flags are going off. And I think if you're going to do it, I would stretch it out. I would make the turn mean more by having it come in a couple months. But I just have that feeling WWE is going to pull the trigger on it super quick, and we're going to see it at Backlash.
You're right. You're right. This is why you're here, man. You're right. Finn is definitely gonna come, help or whatever, and then the turn, whatever, lights go out, whatever they're gonna do. They can have some fun with this, but you're so right. You're so right. V, welcome into the chat.
I'll take a bet on that though.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not betting. And
he's a bet.
I'm not much of a gambler.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
That's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. A lot of people in the chat saying Rhea. Yeah, for sure. Amanda, help us out here.
In the ideal world, I would want AJ to win, because that could build a program again. Throwing in Finn would be awesome. You get the mini Bullet Club. And it would be nice to see, like, hey, Rhea goes to Judgment Day. the Bullet Club they can pull in. I don't know what they would call themselves at this point, but I'm sure they come up with something. And they could probably pull in a female, and you finally get like a little bit more of a mixed kind of tag, intergender kind of action, which would be interesting because we don't really see that very often in the ideal world. In the ideal world. With Finn jumping in, I was thinking along the same lines as Mike. I could see Finn being the third member because heel Finn, jaded Finn is fun Finn.
Yes.
And people want the demon back. And I love the idea of him coming with like the purple, almost like Undertaker-ish vibes. That'd be kind of a fun. Finn would get really creative with that. But giving him some direction, and we could get a series of great matches between a heel Finn and AJ. That'd be a great program. And I feel like maybe that's the direction they might go in, is pulling in, having Finn cost AJ the victory. They go off and do their program. Edge moves on with Damian, and I could see them going for the tag titles at some point. I think that's where maybe they're setting up. I could see them going for a tag team title run, putting them on Damian and Edge. I would love to see Rhea join if they had another female in the wings. If there was another female she could go up against, then I could see AJ winning. Then I could see Rhea joining. I think it's going to happen, but they don't have. I don't think they have anybody yet to oppose Rhea at this point that could join AJ and form a stable.
Maybe it's too linear, but what about just having Liv, just for her
it's
feud
possible.
with? I mean, I'm just trying to think of the female roster off the top of my head, and
That's what I'm thinking too. She'd be the most likely.
Yeah.
And I could see that short term, but if you're going to build a stable,
it would be short term. Yeah,
but short term definitely. I mean, that could work. I mean, maybe that's one way AJ could get the win. Rhea comes out to interfere. Liv comes out. We leave Finn and AJ open to still teaming, and maybe that postpones the storyline for a little bit. But the Finn turn is going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome when it does if they do it correctly and stretch it. I would love to see it just a little further. Let me have AJ and Finn together for a little bit and rejoice in that. And then y'all can turn Finn.
Love it.
What if you bring Bliss in for it? I mean, she wants something to do.
Oh, that's true.
You have two ways to do it. And I don't like way number one because it loses fiendish.
Didn't she post something on social media here recently that something big was coming? Didn't she post on Instagram? I didn't get to see. I just saw it kind of in passing, but could this be?
Would you
possibly?
Kelly, would you see her with? Okay, yeah. Go, you're about to answer what I'm going to ask.
He will be on AJ's side in there because I'm still booking it with I see Rhea going that way. But if you've got Ripley on the one side, you've got two ways you can bring in Bliss. One, I'm not a fan of simply because I love Fiendish Bliss. It's really hot. Call me selfish, but I want to keep watching it. I don't care what anybody else says. Screw you guys. So the first way is you bring her back with the Twisted Bliss kind of stuff. It fits really on Brandon if you're going to do Finn going in, and Finn in with the Bullet Club with AJ with the blue, rocking that color a bit more. She can come in with her Twisted Bliss, color coordination. Fashion and wrestling, obviously. The other side is if you're going to keep them on Judgment Day being more paranormal or whatever, screw it. Have Bliss be the little paranormal side on the other way so I still get Fiendish Bliss. Let me be selfish. It's short term. Who cares? Gives them time to plan out something longer and bring in a more permanent female or eventually turn Bliss, which I don't want. But Bliss is a perfect kind of wild card there that you could fit her in two different ways.
Very interesting.
That's a good call. That's a really good call.
It's a good panel. You guys are knocking. I'm so proud of you all. You guys are knocking it out of the park. I will say this, exclusive right here, shameless promo. I did talk to Jarrett from Bowling for Soup. That's going to be up on the pop break. Had a great conversation with him. We did talk about Alexa Bliss. We did talk about the potential of playing WrestleMania. So he said a couple things about that. I'm excited for that to come out. # Bill Bodkin. We'll see what happens with that. Mike, you had something to say real quick?
I was just going to say, I'm struggling. Who was Nikki, if anyone remembers from Raw, who was Nikki Ash talking to in the back when they were like pretty much like, aren't you finally ready for a change? And she was like, yes.
Or no, Dewdrop?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, she was
Dewdrop.
talking with Dewdrop. I say maybe Nikki Ash is one of the ones that if we're putting someone on the heel side, that maybe she could turn. I don't know. I'm throwing stuff out. I want something to do with her. But, yeah.
I mean, we've seen her kind of with how she debuted with the Sanity kind of,
Right. Yeah. No, that's my favorite version of her is like just absolutely unhinged. Like that's.
It can't be Nikki Ash. I would die laughing way too hard if they tried to put the Nikki Ash actually as is in there. So
no, not as Ash.
Otherwise, I'd die.
No, she'd go back to Nikki Cross, or maybe she could be Nikki ASV, almost a super villain or something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I would
maybe
want
some
her
kind of
to multiverse. I would want her to be unhinged, back to Sanity style Nikki Cross, not Nikki AS.
Yeah, we'll move on for this, but you guys, you're making me so proud. You guys are saying so many great things. Michael Sullivan in the chat saying Piper Niven. You are correct, sir. I agree with that. Piper Niven. Love Piper Niven.
Dewdrop.
But we were talking about this real quick the other day, the boys and I over here, because we have that kind of time. We were saying, think of a faction that had a female member, if they're 3 or 4, since DX on the main roster. Like we could talk about The Way, we could talk about some NXT factions, but we were trying to think like in recent memory, I can't think of one before DX or after DX.
Does Vicky Guerrero count? Because Vicky's tried to build some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to get. Like, and again, it's like, does this count? Because there wasn't one, like maybe one with a competitor, but I mean, that's a fair point too.
So
it's
she
tough.
Didn't fight.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I just feel like they were more adventurous in NXT about maybe trying more mixed teams than the main roster has been.
Yeah,
because everybody I'm thinking of is NXT.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, you guys are the best. In the chat, Straight Edge Society. There we go.
Oh,
there you go. Good save. Look at you.
Good job.
Great job. Knocked it out of the park. John Blaine, welcome into the chat. He's watching before he records his show. Have a great show, man. Thanks for watching so much, bro. Let's talk about Bobby Lashley, who doing well after that fall on the ropes, man. That was crazy to see, man. Everyone says he's the toughest guy in the business, and I know why. Taking on Omos with MVP. I think we kind of saw some of this, coming. We always said like MVP was going to go another direction on the show for a while now. I'm just thinking why. We know why MVP is with Omos to kind of be the mouthpiece for the big man. This is very interesting. So I don't think you have Omos lose here. That's my mindset. Let's throw it to Amanda.
I don't think Omos is going to lose. I would be shocked. I feel like pairing him with MVP, they've got big long-term plans for him, and this is the start of it. Having him again go up, and he's not going to lose to Lashley again, especially after losing at Mania. I mean, this is a big term. This is a big. Lashley's going to be a stepping stone for Omos at this point. So that's the intent of this program, is to build Omos to like the next special attraction. Because there's always somebody who's a special big man or a special, kind of almost like bigger than life. Like that's kind of the old school kind of booking a little bit. And I think Omos is going to be it at this point in time. So that's why that's why they have him with MVP. It makes no sense to have him lose. Will we see maybe a little mini reunion of the Hurt Business as his original form? Maybe. But I really feel like the intent of this match is going to be to make Omos look good and win solidly.
Interesting. Kelly, are we going for the trifecta here for Omos?
I see. This was the only one I don't know how I feel, because I would personally book it. I think he does need the big win over Lashley, but I don't think yet is the time to do the big win. I don't think there should be a clean finish here. I don't think we should have. I see a double disqualification or no contest getting called on that match. That way you still have some more longevity with helping Bobby Lashley build Omos up, but you're not just kind of like setting it in stone and trying to run with it. I think they might want to kind of dabble with it a little bit more before they take those reins on there and make him larger than life, even though he already is physically larger than life.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's not a decision at all. Although if there is, it's obviously going to be Omos.
Yeah, hell of a debut. Mike, you're always on point with this stuff. What's going to happen?
I'm pretty much, I'm going to copy paste, Rob. I'm going to copy paste what Kelly said there. I think, so I didn't understand why you had Omos losing to Lashley at WrestleMania. I didn't understand why you had that match at all. I thought Omos would have been better served winning the Battle Royal and kind of saving that. I thought that was a perfect use for him. I do like, if I'm looking at this, I think, yes, Lashley is definitely a stepping stone, but I agree with what Kelly said, where we can get more legs out of this. Omos can beat Lashley, and that's fine. But you still have a little bit of stock in Lashley having just been the former champion, losing his title in not a really great way. So he's still, like, when he takes that loss to Omos, then it's going to be, okay, Lashley's the guy that every new, heel or face, whatever Lashley is at the time, gets over. But we don't have to necessarily get there yet. So if we have some kind of no decision, a double DQ, they brawl out into the ring or something, it can set up a third match, a gimmick type match of a false count anywhere or a last man standing, whatever you want to do. You got two big guys, you can keep it going. I like that no decision thought process. I'm too afraid to pick it because that's a ballsy pick. So I'm gonna say Omos gets the win, but once again, that's after Kelly, you just made a very compelling argument. That's what I think is going to happen. What I would do is what you said and give us a no decision to build to something greater than what we currently have. But ultimately, like Amanda said, the Lashley is eventually just a stepping stone for Omos. And
or
MVP.
You just have MVP get involved too.
You can easily, you have MVP, and then for
Mhm.
the next match, he's in a Shark Tank above the ring or whatever they want to do. Don't poo-poo the Shark Tank.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It'll probably happen.
Shades of JJ Dillon coming into my head right now. But there's a million ways you can do it. It doesn't have to be a totally clean victory, but I think Omos is going to get a victory.
Yeah, very, very well said as always, my friend. Bubba John, welcome in the chat. Excited to see you down in Baltimore, guys. Shameless promo, Baltimore Celeb Fest down in Baltimore, May 15th. Then BCP boys will be down there ready to go. Hopefully getting some interviews, talking to everyone. And Bubba saying Lashley is the man. He certainly is. We'll see what happens. I'm so glad to see all his success in recent years. But let's go on to our next match here. Let's go where we want to go. Let's talk about the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, taking on Sonia Deville. I'm actually real cool with this because Sonia's kind of been in the background, but, very relevant still. So I'm kind of cool with this. I like the outside the box thinking, kind of just pulling rank and saying, hey, it's my turn. And I think this is awesome. This could be a really good match. I've been a fan of Sonia since, maybe even Tough Enough, but NXT. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We've been such a pro Bianca show since NXT and seeing her house shows here in New Jersey, man. This could be really, really good. And again, a possible show stealer. I said it for Mania, Becky Bianca. Now we have this one. Bianca retains here. Let's go to Kelly.
I completely agree. Bianca is going to retain. I don't think there is any logical reason to take that title off of her right now, especially with just pushing Sonia back out there, unless somehow Toxic Attraction and Mandy are getting involved in this too. They already made up and broke that level of storyline, so why not just make it absolutely bonkers, have Sonia take the title, and then all of a sudden Bianca's big hill she has to go against, since we've got Becky and Asuka occupied and Charlotte's on a different show, is her big thing she now has to fight is 4 separate people and they're all champions. So if you want to give her like some out of nowhere weird stepping stone storyline, sure, make it happen with Toxic Attraction coming in for the assist, and that's how Sonia wins. But since that's not going to happen because I'm not a writer for WWE, Bianca's going to win, Sonia's going to be all mad, and then we're going to see one of two things. She's either going to finally fully step away from that administration role, which we know she's kind of done with to begin with, even though it's been great, or she's going to still hybrid it and use that authority to continue her storyline by still staying in the title picture for a bit longer.
Wow. First of all, I popped for that idea. That's amazing. In the chat, people saying, I dig Kelly's idea. I agree with that. The problem is, and that's the thing I pop biggest for, if that happened, that would be amazing. The thing is, and as you all know, NXT doesn't exist in the main roster, as we've seen many, many times. Again, listen to that interview with Ember Moon, Athena on CVV. It was very, very good. But I love that idea. My AEW belt just fell down, so I don't know if that's telling or not. Mike, what do you got?
First of all, is this confirmed for Backlash? Like confirmed? Because it's not on Wikipedia, and I know Wikipedia.
Yeah, so I went through the matches, and I thought it was. So maybe I'm off, but let's go with it anyway because I think it's gonna happen. But I think you're right.
Go for it. I think this is ultimately leading to Sonia losing her authority power. I can see it. The way I'd book it is I would have Bianca beat Sonia again, and Sonia is just she got screwed again somehow, and now she wants another match. Well, no, Sonia, you've had too many matches. It's not going to happen. And Sonia's going to go, what if I put my position of authority on the line? That's how much it means to me to get another shot to be champion. And I think she'll get another shot, and I think Bianca will beat her again ultimately. And then we get just Sonia back on the main roster doing her thing. I mark hard for Sonia Deville. She's a member of the community, as we say. She's family, and so I can't help but pull for her. I think she's got great chops. Like, I mean, she can go out and do one of those 20-minute promos at the beginning of a Raw or SmackDown and kill it. So I like what they're doing with her. I'm fine with her in that evil authoritative role, but I do think it's time for it to come to an end. And I think it's going to be her ego that she can't handle that she lost to Bianca Belair again. So she's willing to give up everything just for, to quote Christian, one more match. And it's not going to be successful, and we'll go from there. And Bianca can go on to the million other feuds she's going to have, and they're all going to be amazing.
All right, very well said. In the chat, Kimmy checking and saying this is not confirmed. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't in the official match ranking. I was looking at CBS Sports there, but again,
we only have 6 right now, so you could add one more easily. You could add one easily.
I think so too. Amanda, help us out here.
I think this is the one that is going to get added, because I feel like I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, there's still quite a bit of room, for this particular card. So this is a match I think that we definitely could see added. It's hard to follow you guys because y'all are so good. I'm here like, wow, like I really like Kelly's booking.
I know, right?
Like, yeah, so good. But Mike, you have a really good point too. Like I could see that that's more WWE like to do than bring in Toxic Attraction, even though that would be amazing.
Now, to refute Bob here real quick, they actually are more acknowledging NXT subtly. You have Natalya walking around wearing Cora Jade's hat while she's dipping over, and they were having that whole feud back and forth. So there are subtleties where they're bringing in minor things.
Well, and didn't
balls to the wall.
Didn't Dolph and Braun fight on like a SmackDown?
They did. You're right.
Yeah. So maybe it's possible.
And obviously we know a lot of that has to do with the change in regime. Nunes and I like live and die with the black and gold era. Excited to meet Johnny in a couple weeks again. But I feel like, and this is a whole nother thing, I don't want to get into it too much. And you guys bring up a great point. NXT right now, I think obviously a new regime 2.0, but I feel like they're just throwing so much at us and seeing what sticks to the wall. And this could be part of it, bringing them into the main roster. It's different. They're seeing what's happening. So I think they're just where we are. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. That being said, so happy for our guy, Joe Gacy. So happy for Mimi, Sloan Jacobs. So thank you for the opportunities for everyone coming from the Northeast here. That's the most important thing. And these are good problems to have when we have so much wrestling to argue over, so that's a really good thing. Welcome in Daniel Bakley in the chat. Saying they had the NXT title match on Raw. Yeah, there it is. All right. Okay. Where do you guys want to go? You guys want to talk about Cody?
I always want to talk about Cody.
Let's talk about Cody.
I wish Bill was here to sing right now. He has his own version of the song. But
Cody Rhodes
there it is.
On the show.
Yeah, that's it, man. Thank you, Mike. Someone had to sing it. Cody versus Seth. What do you guys feel about this booking? I know we could talk about Cody for days, and please do. This has been arguably the most popular thing in wrestling. His return couldn't have gone better. It just worked out perfectly. Right. Vince came to him to talk and meet and all that stuff. We can go on and on. I have so much to say. Let's start with you guys. Amanda, take it away.
All I have to say is seeing that moment live was incredible. Incredible. The whole stadium just popped. And Kelly, you were there too. So, I mean, it was like this, people just, even though I think we had a pretty good idea that it was a strong possibility it was going to happen, I think, for me, I thought it was going to happen Raw. Because I always do like usually the big returns are sometimes, especially with Stone Cold already being out there and Taker and whatnot, that was something I had seen or had kind of foreseen, but yeah, I was happy to have seen it. So, and I really feel like they are really handling his return well in terms of him getting the win over Mania. All of the vignettes, the interviews, Cody's getting a really good push, especially being in the public eye, much more so than he's, at least in WWE, has ever had. So they're really, again, just was on, we could talk about the Zelda, the Zelda debate was great. But just even having him right off the bat in those key spots, and again, being on social media, this is a big thing for Cody. So and I know WWE likes the 50-50 booking, there's always a chance that Seth could win, but I really don't see it happening with Cody's momentum being so hot right now. They're going to have a great match. They are. I think they're going to do better than Mania. There were some rough spots at Mania, but the match was still good overall. I thought it was one of my favorite of the night, one of them. And just, so I really feel like they're gonna step it up. I think this might be the match of the night for me already. I feel like, again, other than Bianca and Sonia's match, I really feel like this is gonna be the other one. It's gonna be up there. But I see Cody winning because, again, the way he's being handled right now. He's just, the momentum is too hot, and to have him lose to Seth, which again, it wouldn't be a bad thing to lose. Seth Rollins is a great competitor, so Kimmy, don't get mad. But I really feel like it's going to go to Cody at this point, just to keep that momentum going, and he's on a roll right now. And it's going to be a great match. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. Very well said. And I'll try not to go too long on this. I have a lot to say about Cody. Rick Santos in the chat saying Cody wins but will end up losing to a part-timer. Interesting. People saying Cody's momentum will wear off. Very interesting. I mean, again, he's very, very hot right now. He could cool off. It all depends on the booking. That being said, I mean, it was a perfect emotional situation at WrestleMania. I wasn't there, but we could feel it. We're all, who's coming out? Da-da-da. That music hits. First of all, that weekend it gets 8 million plays on Spotify. He's had the same song for 5 years, but it just shows you, and we're not pro this, pro that. We all have our opinions. I enjoy watching AEW every week. Love seeing people pop up on there. That's been my go-to the past couple weeks. But it does show, like, that scale, how he's had that song for 5 years. I learned it on Qatar the next day. I've known it for 5 years, but that's something about that entrance. I mean, and it's not just me. Spotify, 8 million plays over the weekend, whatever it is. It was perfect. And then that promo on top of all of that, I think that's the most emotionally invested I've been in someone. And I liked Cody more so because of the opportunities he's been giving people and what he did for the independents. But, the emotion, he's doing all the interviews. I watch all of them. He is, and now they're playing into it as they should, but he's breaking all the rules. He's saying wrestler. He's cursing in the interviews. Any of us who've done an interview with WWE Superstar, you are monitored, like, everywhere. No cursing. No. We know this story. And the fact that he's, like, doing whatever he wants, you can kind of feel it. This is an emotional promo. To have him go against Seth again right now, I'm okay with it. I think it's a good rematch, a lot of rematch. This is the perfect pay-per-view for it. We're going to get another great match, but it makes no sense for Cody to lose here. And Vac, credit to him, he thinks the story for Cody right now should be kind of like the close call thing where you think he's going to get the money in the bank, or he wins it, but he cashes in and it doesn't work, or he's one of the last ones in the Royal Rumble. And I think I think we drag this out for Cody. The money's in the chase. This could be really good. We're emotionally invested. My whole question is, how does this play out with the rumors of The Rock coming back? Is Mania the stage? SummerSlam the stage? How does this work out for Cody? I'm very, very excited for it. Mike, the voice of reason, reel me in, man.
So I adore Cody. I always have adored Cody. I have a thing for second generation wrestlers. I still hope Curtis Axel comes back one day. So let's just put that out there, that my bias
hasn't been eliminated, right?
He's still in it. He's still in the 2014 Royal Rumble. He's doing great, by the way, setting all kinds of records. But so
I feel like he's been talked over a top rope since then, though. So I mean, if that's the only
qualifier,
he got a little, maybe.
he got eliminated from the 2015 Royal Rumble, but he's still never been eliminated.
Okay, but then why wouldn't that count? Because like it's a Royal Rumble still. At some point, it actually ended. If he had to do, if he's saying I never got tossed over the top rope, well, eventually you did at some point.
Kelly, we're going to have to agree to disagree.
That's fine.
Curtis Axel has never lost. But so I'm biased for second generation wrestlers, but Cody's always been very special to me. I think he's amazing. He brought back the original Intercontinental, well, not the original, but the best version of the Intercontinental belt. So he gets all the props in the world to me. I love what he's doing. I thought their slow build toward a heel turn in AEW was amazing, but then everything obviously changed. So now he's here, he's being a face, and he's incredible. And here's the thing, eventually he's going to face Roman Reigns for the title. He's not going to win, but he's going to face Roman Reigns for the title. And the only way that you have a shred of belief that he could beat Roman Reigns, which again, he's not going to, but the only way we believe that he could beat Roman Reigns is if at that point he's undefeated. He can lose something like a Money in the Bank match, but I think for the sake of the fans believing in the storyline, I can't go. You're going to have me going, there's no way Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns. He lost to Seth Rollins at Backlash. Like, come on, man. So you got to keep him undefeated in these one-on-one kind of matches. Of course, chicanery can always happen. But the other thing is too, and Kimmy, you're not going to believe me, but this is a compliment. Drip God Seth Rollins never needs to win a match. It doesn't matter. His character is beyond that, and his character is so arrogant and condescending. I love the fact that he goes and gets his butt kicked. I was trying so hard not to swear for you, Rob. He goes out and gets his butt kicked, and then the next day he's acting like he just won the lottery. And that's the best part about his character, is he's totally unaffected by any kind of loss. He just is the man 24/7. He does not ever need to win. He does not need this win in any way. Cody Rhodes, I think, would be crippled by a loss. If you're long-term projecting him to go for a title, I love him coming close to Money in the Bank and not getting it, doing all that sort of stuff, but he has to win this, and he has to look like the $1 million that he is. Cody Rhodes all the way.
I like it. Kimmy, of course, chiming in on this one, Seth being her favorite for the listeners of the show here. In all caps, he hasn't won in how many months? And he
doesn't matter.
He hasn't won.
He's still over.
He hasn't won Wrestling Fashion in any months either. So we'll leave it at that.
Cool.
Kelly, tell us.
Hit him where it hurts, Rob.
That's it.
Hit him where it hurts.
He will never win. Kelly, tell us. And this is from a guy who has zero fashion sense. Kelly, tell us about that Mania entrance and that experience for you. And do you think Cody wins again?
Okay, Rob, I'm going to break a lot of people's hearts here. And there is video evidence of my exact feelings on this. I haven't given an F about Cody Rhodes since he was dashing Cody Rhodes and putting bags on people's heads. Wow. That was my favorite Cody Rhodes. I loved that heel character. I loved the involvement with the crowd. I loved how up his own butt he was,
good
about how
song.
pretty he was.
Solid theme song.
Theme song was great.
Smoke and Mirrors was beautiful. Might be a video out there of my exact face of him coming out just being like, because I didn't want him. I didn't want Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
I knew he was coming. I put it on my prediction sheets, but I didn't want him back. I thought he could have stayed where he was, and I would have been a happy little duck because I would have never had to see him. I don't watch AEW. I watch a lot of other things, but I will not watch that. Wow. And that's a whole other podcast if you want to dive into that. I actually had dream booking Gargano coming through. I would have loved that to be the way to introduce Gargano to the main roster by having him go on the biggest stage of them all, having this huge nerdy comic book entrance at WrestleMania going against Seth Rollins. I didn't get what I wanted. Didn't happen. I know Cody Rhodes is going to win this time too. I do actually think there's great potential to start a partnership with Seth and Cody down the road if we want to give Cody a heel turn. I think that's a great way to build another faction. You can add Becky into that. You can have Bianca joining the Street Profits. You can start building things a little bit more and actually give some more dimension for when Becky and Bianca start to go back and forth for the title. So I think there's a lot of different potential that's just not going to happen, but it's an idea for down the road when that heel turn does come. For anybody saying Cody Rhodes is going to lose his momentum or anything, they've invested far too much in it, including already promoting back, bringing the Winged Eagle title. So they've already laid those pieces down. He is going to get a title. It's not going to be from Roman Reigns. It's going to be from some way that Roman splits up his titles or at some point takes a break. But he's going to bring that Winged Eagle back for Raw for that main title. It's just not going to be against Roman, as we've all acknowledged.
As we've all acknowledged, I see what you did there. Very well put. I think that's a great point. I thought, this, and these are good problems to have it as far as a booking scenario, because we're actually talking about it and very, very intrigued and interested by it. Uniting the titles, the unification or whatever. Part of me thinking, is this because Omega won PWI #1 because he had more titles than Roman from all the different things? I don't know. But I think that's a fair point. Like, when Roman had both titles, and we all picked him to win, of course, but it's like, if Lashley, and then I'm just using Lashley as an example. Lashley is fantastic, but if someone else had the WWE Championship, because it has to be that title in my mind, it would be a little bit easier to get to. So this should be very interesting how it plays out. And as you brought up, Kelly, a lot of the chat right now is talking about that Winged Eagle belt, a lot of nostalgia there. So the fans could really be the real winners here, depending on the booking. A lot of people in the chat saying, "Oh, it's WWE. I don't think it's going to play out." So and so. We'll see. I'm invested. It's arguably one of the things I'm most excited about. Real quick, shameless promo. We talked about Baltimore. Celeb Fest. I want to talk about our friends Kane Parker Promotions. They are bringing in JTG, Jay the God. Also bringing in our good friend who I love to work with, Mr. Dave LaGreca. Congrats on 13 years of Busted Open. We'll be excited to see you at 80s Wrestling Con this Saturday. Shameless promo. That's in, I believe, Morristown, New Jersey. Correct me if I'm wrong. I got to look it up. But guys, 80swrestlingcon.com. Check it out now. Like 36 at least 80s wrestlers going to be there. Mark Henry's coming. Like I said, Dave LaGreca will be there. It's going to be a great day. And then we get the ISPW show at night. Shameless promo. Let's keep it moving. Oh, boy. Happy Corbin versus Madcap. Is it Madcap Moss now? I know it keeps changing.
It's Madcap Moss.
Madcap, yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of the cheesy jokes. I'm not going to lie. But we talked about this on the WrestleMania show. Corbin was the guy to retire Kurt Angle. I talked to Shameless Promo. We talked to Kurt about it. We talked about all that match on popbreak.com. Shameless Promo, check it out. But it's like, where are we going with Corbin? It's like they're seeing what sticks to the wall, and they've had some success with it, but I am lost. I am lost on this one. I don't know where to go. Mike, I'm just going to throw it to you, man. You're my safety net.
I know where to go. I'll tell you where you're going. You're going to Money in the Bank in Las Vegas, where Happy Corbin loses all of his stuff again, because that's where he wanted and got his whole everything back, was in Vegas. So he's going to lose it all in Vegas. As far as this match goes, look, there's a few things in life you do not do. You do not tug on Superman's cape. You do not pee into the wind, and you do not touch another man's trophy. You don't do it. That's rule number 1 in wrestling. Don't touch someone else's trophy. You're going to get your butt kicked for it. That's what's going to happen here. I think this is just an easy feel-good moment. Madcap Moss, they seem to be throwing a little bit of momentum behind him. Corbin is a great heel. I don't like him, but I respect the hell out of him. The man is a solid worker. And you don't touch someone's trophy and get away with it. You don't. It's that simple. So Moss is going to win. We're going to run it back at Money in the Bank, and I think we're getting Sad Corbin back. And I really hope we do, because as fun as Happy Corbin has been, Sad Corbin was just a thing of beauty, man. Like I was hoping they were going to make him so downtrodden and pathetic that actually people started to feel bad for him and root for him. That's how I saw the face turn coming. Maybe we can try it this time, but I think he's going to lose all of his fortunes in Money in the Bank, and the beginning of the downward spiral is going to start at Backlash with a loss to Madcap Moss.
That's why people watch this show. They feel bad for me, man. That's how I got fans.
And you got over eventually.
Yeah,
it worked
one way or another. With my hi mom, thanks for watching. Amanda, help us out here.
I think, I'm on the same lines. I mean, this is probably one of the matches I'm not as invested in, just because it's compared to everybody else on the card. It's kind of like a nice like mid card, match. And Corbin is a good worker. Like, he is a good mid card. He's a good heel, and he's a good mid card heel. I really like Sad Corbin too. I was kind of like, again, happy Corbin's not bad, but Sad Corbin was really good for me. I actually really enjoyed Sad Corbin.
Happy Corbin was going to last like 2 weeks, and we were going to get Sad Corbin back, and we're still doing this. So
I know, because Sad Corbin is great Corbin. It made me cry. That's terrible. I feel like a terrible human being because I'm like, well, I should feel sorry for him, but it's kind of hilarious at the same time. So just the things that would happen. I feel like his stories were more creative when he was sad Corbin. There's a little bit more energy put there, whereas Happy Corbin, it's kind of been just level.
It's been one note.
Right. It's one note, whereas sad Corbin, you got a little bit more of a multi-dimensional story, and he worked with it well. So I really want that back too. I feel like Moss is going to go over. It's just that seems to be the pattern that Corbin has. And it makes sense, I guess, I mean, you've had Moss with him all of this time. It's time to give him his moment. And just kind of, we're already starting building momentum for him. Just keep it going. And that's where that's what I feel about this particular match. I think it's a way to get Moss over and continue building him up.
Yeah. All right, Kelly.
Well, I have to say I learned something today. I always thought the first rule of wrestling was to never expect your wedding to go through smoothly.
Nice.
But
Randy Savage and Liz, Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. There's 2 exceptions to that rule.
Was that smooth?
It was happy.
There was bumps. I mean, some people definitely finished getting married. I don't think like saying I do was the final goal.
You got Triple H and Stephanie through the drive-thru.
Boom.
Okay, it helps when your partner's been roofied. But
that was a ruse. It was a ruse.
That. I'm sorry. I don't drug your partners, guys.
It was a ruse.
I shouldn't have to say that I don't endorse that, but I've seen how comedians work these days, and I know that I have to put out that statement. I don't actually support drugging your partners in any way, shape, or form. Moving on.
We're in unanimous.
I loved Sad Corbin too. I really did. If you watch the tapes back, he ran into me at Vegas, and then all of a sudden his luck started to change.
That's right.
That's
Did he ask you for $1?
One of my favorite. He did, but Corbin is one of my favorite people to get to run into, to get to chat with. He's a great guy to talk to. He loved being Sad Corbin. He said it was some of the most fun he had been having in his career. He's like, look at this shirt. This shirt is disgusting. Like, this is great.
That's awesome.
Madcap is definitely going over. Corbin is clearly here to try and give him that push and get him over. I hope we get Sad Corbin back at Money in the Bank. I will be there. It's Vegas. It's my favorite place to be, with both a combination of wrestling and gambling. But, as far as things being one note, if the one note you hear is constantly the slots coming through, that's the note I want to hear. So if he wants to give me that luck, I'll be gambling too.
I mean, I'm saying if you gave him $1 and he hit with that $1 and then he billed all that, he might owe you a couple bucks. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Absolutely.
I'll have to run into him again and call that tab, because I hit him right before he played, and I had a party to get to.
There you go. You're busy. I understand this.
Kelly, are you going to be at Money in the Bank this year?
Yes, I am. I'm a timeshare brat. Got my condo booked. I've got my flights all settled, and I'm ready to spend 6 days in Vegas going absolutely wild.
We'll see you there. I'm going to be there too.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Mike doesn't sign arms though. He charges.
100%. Yes. No photographs at all.
Listen, unless your name is Alexa Bliss, I'm not interested right now.
There's no shame in being downcast against Alexa Bliss. That's fine with me.
Boy. All right, let's go to what I would assume would be the main. Actually, maybe not in this one. Very weird pivot. That was the main story this week, going from that tag team unification match. I see Mike already shaking his head. RK Bro now with Drew taking on the Usos versus Reigns. The only thought process I have here is Reigns somehow, obviously, I mean, the match, which we've seen a few times already, Reigns versus Drew, it makes sense, Roman's going to run through everyone until eventually he takes on either Cody or The Rock. That's a whole nother discussion. Or possibly Reigns versus this new incarnation, this happy Randy, if you will, this different Randy. So that's kind of where I think they might go with this. I think I like going against the grain. I think the end game here is the singles match for Roman, but it's a weird pivot because you think unification match for the titles, Usos obviously win. You know who I think is really good though? I think Ezekiel is going to be a really good start. His brother was good. His brother was really good, but I think
Elias was solid.
He was solid. And
Zeke is next level.
I hope to see him back soon. I really do. But I think Ezekiel would be the guy for this match. I think he'd be great. But that being said, they went this direction. Mike, I saw you shaking your head. Your thoughts on this one?
I hate everything about this. I really do. apparently the second rule or third rule, I guess now we're getting into of wrestling, is if you're going to pivot and you're advertising and promising me one thing and then it switches over, I should be more hyped for this new thing that you're giving me. If you're going to change, I just have a feeling that this happened so inorganically, that this was something that was a very last minute pivot, because I was totally against unifying the titles at WrestleMania, but it happened. So this is the world that we live in now. Unifying the tag titles makes all the sense in the world. You could then unify the women's side, whatever you want to do. I saw that as being the way that it was going. You got me to care about the Usos and RK Bro, which, I mean, I love both of them as teams, but I was really excited about the who's going to win. I was really struggling with who's going to win. And then you pivot to this 6-man tag in which no titles are on the line. It's our first chance at seeing the new undisputed unified world heavyweight WWE 24/7 champion in Roman Reigns. And it's a tag match. Really? Like, it just, there's nothing about this that I'm hyped for or excited for. The only logic that I see is when you have someone like Roman Reigns, who's been on as long of a just tear as he's been on, you have to find little ways to give him losses, because you don't want that. Like, it's okay if he seems unbeatable, but if it gets to the point where we go, well, screw it, why am I even watching? I know he's not going to lose. It's sort of the end, sort of like the end of Goldberg's run, where I'm like, why am I even watching match 137? I know he's going to win and the streak's going to keep going. So this is a perfect opportunity to give Roman a loss without really giving him a loss. And Kimmy, Rollins beat Roman at Royal Rumble, so quit your griping about him never getting a win. He did get a win. But again, his character was protected. It's going to be the same thing this way. I think Drew is definitely getting the pin, and the pin is definitely coming on Jimmy or Jay. Roman is not going to be involved in the decision of this, but I think that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Having the Bloodline win this match, to me, just, if we then go to a tag unification after that, I don't really care anymore. And why on earth would we have Drew face Roman if he couldn't win in a 6-man? Why am I going to give him this time of day in a main event? There's just nothing about it that makes sense to me in having the Bloodline win this. It's got to be RK Bro and Drew, and it's going to be Drew getting the pin on, let's say, Jimmy.
You're so right. You're so right, man.
I know, right?
Kelly, help me out.
I agree. I mean, first off, I hate to say this, I love Roman Reigns. I love Randy. And like, I've gotten to smoke with Riddle before. So you've got half of my favorite people in this match already. Why don't I care? And it's just, it was confusing. I don't understand why the changes happened. Although the business side of me does. Fox and USA are two competing networks. You can't imagine they're happy about having to split a main champion. And so to then also put on them to the point they're going to also have to split the tag team champions. I never saw full unification of the titles happening because of the competing broadcasts that they're on. Yes, they're not on at the same time, but those are dueling networks. So the fact that you've already got that kind of competition, unification straight off the board is not and never will happen unless they go completely back to one network or joint networks where they're partners. So
do you think the Universal title is going to split back up? Do you think okay, all right. Unless
they get, because there have been talks about networks competing for the shows again, unless they solidify partners to where it's okay to unify things and have that back and forth. I think what we saw here was one or both networks pulling rank and saying, absolutely not. We're already splitting one. We're not going to split more. And that could be why you got this quick swerve. I don't even see Roman being present at ringside when Jimmy or Jay takes that pin, and it's going to cause some dissension on Friday night. We'll see some follow-up there. But at some point, him and Heyman are going to dip, and you're definitely going to see one of them take the pin. I personally am kind of tired of seeing Drew. I get he's a great performer. He just was up there so much, especially carrying things through COVID. I'm just tired of him. I would love to see either Randy or Riddle taking that and getting the pin because, at least that gave a push over who was the superior tag team without having to commit to unifying the titles.
Wow. Well, Kelly, you will be back on the show. You're knocking it out of the park. All right, Amanda, what do you got for this one?
I think, I'm not crazy about this particular match either. I really feel like, one, it's trying to give Roman something to do, just trying to extend him, at least they don't. I don't. Who can they feed to Roman at this point? and I think it's just trying to kind of still, right?
Oh God.
I'm sorry, I had to.
There you go. Well played. But I think it's kind of extending his existing program out a little longer, just because I don't think they have anybody ready yet to go ahead and give him a new program. I think we're going to see him maybe go in maybe hit once and then just kind of hang out. And I think dip from ringside too, but I think we're going to get him in for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, if that. One tag, and then we're right back out. I think all of the action is going to be in between the teams. I also agree with you, Kelly, that I'm a little fatigued with Drew. He's just not fresh. And we saw a lot of him. His character to me is a little stale. He's had the same persona for how long now?
Since he turned face.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And it's been a while. So, I'm not as enthused especially about their particular pairing. I mean, I was really enjoying the tag team action, like Mike was saying, you were invested into this story. And I mean, and Kelly, you bring up a good point about, not unifying the titles, because I completely forget sometimes they're on competing networks. And I mean, yeah, I guess you could see the Universal title split off, and maybe that's what they're prepping Cody, or they're prepping somebody else for us to take the other title and be the flagship, kind of the flagship bearer. I always get the terminology mixed up, but the standard bearer. There we go. For the other network, because you need to build somebody up as strong as Roman to compete against Roman and compete against in ratings if you want to make both networks happy. There's nobody right now that can compete against Roman. There's nobody. Cody maybe has the best chance at this point, unless they bring in somebody else huge. But that's a whole different discussion. But I think this is a safe way to keep both programs going with no titles on the line. I think it's a safe way to hand Roman a loss. One of the Usos is going to take the pin, and this is just a way to keep their programs going until they figure out directions for everybody going, especially more so for Roman, I think, than anybody else in this match. But I can definitely see Drew and RK Bro winning this match, again, pinning one of the Usos. I would like it to be Andy too, because I feel like they got a lot of momentum going. They really, they're the fresh half, they're the fun half of this program. And especially Randy. So I would love to see him get the pin. And yeah, that'd be fun to see him go up against Roman in the future. I would be here for that. And maybe that's where they're going. Maybe they're kind of prepping towards that. They just need more time to let that storyline build. But I definitely see RK Bro and Drew winning this match for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, I love that you looked at it from not just personal opinion, but you all brought the networks involved, and I think you guys bring up some from a business perspective. I think that's a great way to look at it, and you guys really knocked it out of the park tonight. I'm very happy with this panel. You'll all be back. Bill, Kimmy, let's get them out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Love you guys. Miss you guys. We'll see you for Double or Nothing. But before we get out of here, we are all about that shameless promo here on the BCP. Mike, you got some new stuff happening, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so as we brought up earlier, it's I'm stepping out of the closet, so to speak. The closet champion is no more, but I'm with my buddy Luke, who had been on several previous episodes with me, but we are now Sweet Chin Musings. Shout out to Molly, who came up with that incredibly clever title in about 4 seconds after I racked my brains for 4 days. Posting pretty regularly. We're doing some new stuff, keeping the old stuff that worked, switching it up a little bit. I will be returning in a couple months to the Pop Break. I'll be writing for once Big Brother starts back up again. I'm doing reviews for that. Took Survivor off this season, and it's a good thing because it's been a snoozer. So other than that, just keeping up with the new podcasts and trying to get the word out there. And as always, being very grateful for being on your wonderful show.
Do it anytime. Mr. Perfect over here. You're very welcome. Kelly, anything you want to promote or any follows? I know you did some stuff with the Mania Club. Yeah, go ahead.
One quick thing that also just means that my record resets now because I'm now not the closet champion. So I am perfect again until I lose. So
you'll get some opinions on that, I'm sure.
Oh, from who? Sorry.
Oh man, Kelly, anything to promote or a shameless promo?
Definitely. I've got to say, guys, if you haven't yet, join Mania Club on Facebook. They fundraise through the V Foundation for Connor's Cure. This last year, they just broke the 100,000 mark for amount fundraised for Connor's Cure that they've gotten to donate. There's a lot of really fun opportunities too, whether you're WWE, AEW, or you're chill with anybody liking what they want to like. They get some great sweet options. I know that people were saying Forbidden Door was really hard to get into. Well, they've got a suite set up that you guys can still get some tickets at and get a really great experience. But most importantly, we've got that fundraising through the V Foundation. They also do Give Kids the World. There's some really great opportunities. Do you want to have Shotzi Blackheart follow you on Instagram? There is a fundraiser right now where you can submit your bet to have her follow you back on Instagram, and those funds are going to Give Kids the World. Personal note here, I took some time off from modeling. It's what I like to do in my spare time. I get to do some backstage interviews at a local wrestling show up in Everett, Washington, Without a Cause Wrestling. So it's me finally getting to dip into the community that I love, since I am too injured to ever be a wrestler or anybody actually in ring taking bumps. So give Without a Cause a check. They do stream on IWTV. So next show is May 20th. Why do I always keep calling May March?
No, but Kelly, thank you for coming on. Hell of a debut, but thank you for all you do with Mania Club. Demario, everyone over there does a great job again. All for Connor's Cure. We all know that pediatric cancer, and it's a great cause. 80s Wrestling Con Shameless Promo will also be raising money for Connor's Cure as well. So that's great, and some great opportunities to meet superstars, to have people follow you on Instagram. That's how I get people to follow me. I have to pay them. Amanda, tell us a little bit about Mission Pro and some of the stuff you're doing.
Well, shameless promo, we do have a show next Saturday. Don't Stop Me Now. We've got some fantastic matches, including our main event, which is the Renegades, our tag team champions, the Renegade Twins, which if you don't follow them, you should. They are amazing. As well as our other amazing team, our challengers, Bougie Reality, Maddie Rankowski, and Roche Chanel. There's a lot of bad blood here in this match. A lot of tension between these two teams. This is a no DQ match, so titles are on the line, and it's going to get crazy. We'll see if Southern Star Brewery is going to be up and running still by the time this match is over.
That's it. Genocide real mad. I saw that promo. What, you got Colin King? Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, that triple threat's going to be... that match is going to be so good. So we've got a stellar lineup all the way through. Our wrestlers are... Yeah, again, I don't know how the brewery's still standing sometimes. Yeah. I really don't. But yeah, of course, if you're in the Texas area, basically, or at least kind of by Houston, we're based out of, or at least working out of Conroe. So tickets are still available. And of course, you can stream on Title Match Network. And then we'll be in Oklahoma on June 25th with the Comic-Con over there. So starting to promote for that. Some matches are forthcoming for that particular show. And I'm not affiliated with this other promotion, but I do support them too, because I like to support my independent promotions here. But same weekend, May 15th, River City Wrestling is having a show as well that they stream on Title Match Network. They have another great card, and some of our Mission Pro people sometimes show up on their cards. So Maddie Rankowski being one of them. So support local wrestling, support indie wrestling. You never know. Again, Roxy, that's all I'm going to say. You never know who's going to show up. So and yeah, that's all I've got. And you guys are awesome. Thank y'all for having me back. I missed being here, and it's great to be back.
That's awesome. We'll have you back when we're talking Star Wars, Kenobi, all that good stuff. Guys, give yourselves a round of applause. Great job today. All around. We got Detroit, we got Oregon, we got Tech, we got everyone here. Guys, thank you so much for joining the show. And like we always say here on the BCP, everyone stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We out. Peace.